Coming up on Hoosier Sports Night, the men's soccer team is headed to the Big Ten Tournament Championship for a potential three-peat, and the baseball team put an end to their losing streak. This is Hoosier Sports Night. Hello, and welcome to Hoosier Sports Night. I'm Ryan Scott. Off the back of a third straight Big Ten regular season title, IU men's soccer has a chance to win a third straight Big Ten tournament as well, as they will be facing off against Penn State in the final on Saturday. Jack Edwards has more on how the Hoosiers got here.
Off the back of a third successive conference regular season title, the Indiana Hoosiers kicked off their Big Ten tournament in similarly dominant fashion. A 3-0 win over Northwestern, courtesy of a Victor Becerra brace and a Ryan Wittenbrink goal, eased the Hoosiers through the first round. No Spencer Glass meant that Brett Beebe had to fill in at left back in his stead, but strong performances have kept the Hoosiers clicking.
Brett's doing a great job. He's, as we've always mentioned, he's the Swiss Army knife of our team. Wherever we need him, he pops in and does the job. He'll play it different than Spencer. He doesn't have, he's dominant right-sided, so he's got a good left foot, but certainly not a special one that Spencer had. So he needs to play within himself. We need to be a bit more aggressive on the right side with our service. Nick did that a few times tonight. But yeah, we have to adapt.
Victor Becerra made it 2 braces and 2, scoring 2 against Maryland, 1 from a Nick Sessick cross, and another from range. Sophomore goalkeeper Roman Celentano is glad that he isn't shooting at his net.
He's just different class. He's just a natural player. The ball just flies off his foot. It's effortless. I'm just lucky to be on the same team as him right now. Just seeing him play the soccer is it's a privilege.
For IUSTV Sports, I'm Jack Edwards. Off the back of a third successive conference regular season title, the Indiana Hoosiers kicked off their Big Ten tournament in similarly dominant fashion. A 3-0 win over Northwestern, courtesy of a Victor Becerra brace and a Ryan Wittenbrink goal, eased the Hoosiers through the first round. No Spencer Glass meant that Brett Beebe had to fill in at left back in his stead, but strong performances have kept the Hoosiers clicking.
Brett's doing a great job. He's, as we've always mentioned, he's the Swiss Army knife of our team. Wherever we need him, he pops in and does the job. He'll play it different than Spencer. He doesn't have, he's dominant right-sided, so he's got a good left foot, but certainly not a special one that Spencer had. So he needs to play within himself. We need to be a bit more aggressive on the right side with our service. Nick did that a few times tonight. But yeah, we have to adapt.
Victor Becerra made it 2 braces and 2, scoring 2 against Maryland, 1 from a Nick Sessick cross, and another from range. Sophomore goalkeeper Roman Celentano is glad that he isn't shooting at his net.
He's just different class. He's just a natural player. The ball just flies off his foot. It's effortless. I'm just lucky to be on the same team as him right now. Just seeing him play the soccer is it's a privilege.
For IUSTV Sports, I'm Jack Edwards.
Thanks, Ryan. The Indiana men's basketball team announced on Wednesday that Yasir Roseman has been hired as an assistant coach under Mike Woodson. Roseman has over 15 years of coaching experience and most recently spent 2 seasons at the University of Alabama, where he helped coach players like Colin Sexton and Kiara Lewis Jr., who were each first-round picks in the NBA draft. Roseman also had stops at Georgia and Oregon, among other schools. The hiring of Roseman makes him the final piece of the new coaching staff, joining Dane Fife and Kenya Hunter on the bench under Coach Woodson. When talking about Roseman, Mike Woodson was quoted as saying, "He brings a great deal of experience at schools like Alabama, Georgia, and Oregon, and has been a big contributor to the success and worked with and recruited a number of young men who were able to develop their game to the next level." Coach Ya, as he's known on Twitter, said that he is so happy to be a part of the Hoosier family. Ryan, back to you.
Thanks, Carlo. The Hoosiers baseball team went into the past weekend on a 5-game losing streak. They ended that and made some history along the way. How did it happen? Our Jevin McCoskey has the weekend recap.
The Indiana Hoosiers welcomed another Big Ten foe to Bloomington this past weekend in the Illinois Fighting Illini, and in Game 1, the Hoosiers' bats were absolutely on fire. In a game that saw 4 home runs by 4 different players, none were bigger than Colin Hopkins' walk-off home run in the bottom of the ninth. Hopkins was just 2 for 30 before the slam and had this to say about what it meant to him.
Indescribable, to be honest with you. Just really means that my swing is starting to get somewhere where I want it to be.
Believe it or not, that was not the most exciting thing this weekend, as the Hoosiers made history for pitching their first combined no-hitter since 1984. McCade Brown got things started for the Hoosiers as Braden Tucker finished the last 4 innings.
Defense was outstanding. They're great players. Tank had a great day too. A lot of good plays over there short, and they're great out there. So it gives a lot of confidence to the pitchers when you got a good defense behind you.
The Hoosiers went 3-0 this past weekend and look to keep the momentum rolling into their next series against the Northwestern Wildcats. For IUS TV Sports, I'm Jevin McCoskey.
As mentioned, IU will be traveling to Evanston, Illinois for a weekend series against Northwestern. Be sure to follow along with Jevin and Sean on Twitter for up-to-the-minute updates on IU baseball. And also on the diamond, IU softball was in West Lafayette this past weekend. A tremendous comeback in the finale gave the Hoosiers a 3-1 series win over the Boilermakers. After a shaky third inning for the Hoosiers, dominant pitching from Emily Gooden, along with strong defense all over, helped lead IU to victory in the final game. The bats were also hot in West Lafayette as the Hoosiers tallied 18 total runs against Purdue. The highlight of the weekend was when senior Gabby Jenkins broke the stolen base record for IU with 91 career stolen bases and counting. The Hoosiers, now at 11-13, are back in action this weekend at home against the Ohio State Buckeyes. Men's golf returned to action this past weekend at the Campen Golf Course in West Lafayette for the Boilermaker Invitational. As a team, it was their second best finish of the year as they collectively shot 4 under en route to place 5th of 16 teams. On the individual side, Brock Oxenreider got his first individual win of the season as he shot 7 under for the tournament to win by 1 stroke. Oxenreider was awarded Co-Big Ten Player of the Week as he is the second player to do so for the Hoosiers this season. Freshman Clay Merchant continued his impressive season, finishing 4th in the team with a score of 3 under. Junior Mitch Davis at 2 under and Drew Sawyers at 1 under rounded out an impressive quartet of scores for the Hoosiers. The men's regular season will come to a close next weekend when they play at the Kepler Intercollegiate hosted by Ohio State. The IU water polo team took on the number 2 team in the country, UCLA, in Bloomington this week in 2 competitive games. The Hoosiers dropped both games of scores 14-18 and 14-10. In the first game on Monday, Lana DeBow had a hat trick, giving her 24 goals on the season, but that wasn't enough to take over the Bruins offense. Mary Askew had 10 saves in the net for the Hoosiers in the game, making it the second time that she has recorded double-digit saves in a game this season. In the second game on Tuesday, the Hoosiers got off to a really good start, only trailing 8-7 at the break. Zoe Crouch led the way for the Hoosiers and filled the stat sheet with 3 goals, 2 assists, and a pair of steals. Catherine Hawkins created a lot of offense as well, contributing 3 assists in the losing effort. The Hoosiers' next games will come Saturday and Sunday against San Jose State. We have Noah Harrison in the studio to preview some Hoosier sports going on next week. Noah?
Thanks, Ryan. As the semester starts to wind down, it's a busy week for Hoosier sports everywhere. That includes the women's golf team as they will compete in the Indiana Invitational here in Bloomington this weekend. Meanwhile, the rowing team will be traveling to Bethel, Ohio to compete in the Big Ten Invitational. And the field hockey team will also be on the road this weekend as they travel to face Michigan in Ann Arbor. After their matchup with the Wolverines, the team will prepare for the Big Ten tournament, which will begin on Wednesday. Make sure to follow IUS TV Sports on Twitter to stay up to date on all the action and more. Back to you, Ryan.
All right. Thanks, Noah. And that's our show for the week. Thanks so much for tuning in. And don't forget to follow us on Instagram and Twitter at IUS TV Sports. For our production crew behind me, I'm Ryan Scott. We'll see you next week.